So what's your name?
Yullbrenna.
Hi, you schmucks!
Alright, hey everybody, Yullbrenna here with a Relic Arena gameplay video, and this time we're going to be playing Xerxes. Xerxes is very beginner friendly, really fun leader in this game actually, and can make for some pretty fun combos. So let's get into it. If you don't know what Xerxes done, I've made a few videos on him. I think maybe one or two, but essentially you're going to be gaining increased attack damage per round, and you'll get increased damage on that for 2 and 4. And then at 3 and 5, you'll gain special abilities. So what are those special abilities? You will gain, at level 3, you will be gaining a volley of arrows, essentially. So 15% chance on attack, you'll be dealing a volley of arrows at a random enemy hero for 150% of the attacker's damage, and that's going to be as magic damage. And then maxed out, you're going to get God King, 25% chance to attack another unit in range. If there's no other units, you're going to hit the same target. So really good way to build up burst damage as well, and you kind of get a good idea of the balancing it out with that level 3 volley of arrows, where it's going to be dealing magic damage and it's going to hit other people. So if you're kind of focused just on single target damage, you're still going to get that chance to deal AoE damage, because you're going to be hitting other opponents, other enemies with the arrows. So usually talk about leaders. When is a good time to play Xerxes? I would say if Mirror of Archimedes isn't in the game, that's the best time, unless you have some form of spell immunity, whether that's going to be, the helm or something of that nature. So that's what I would recommend. For that is just watch out for Mirror of Archimedes. Other than that, I think it's always a solid game for it. If Catapult is in the game, I think Catapult is very beneficial for Xerxes, because again, you want to have that AoE damage and you're dealing that splash damage with this huge attack damage. That's very beneficial. Some other spells that to highlight would be Pirate Flag, of course, for that huge burst damage, and that's where you'd really want to watch out for Mirror of Archimedes. And then something like Top Hat as well. Anything that's going to be dealing instant attack damage, things like that. So that's kind of how I play Xerxes a couple ways, which would be Pirate Flag, Catapult, things of that nature. And then again, you're going to want to get that damage per round up. So I would say you probably want to get to level 4 fairly quickly in the game, but you don't need to rush. You really want to get your spells up and find those spells that are going to make Xerxes as strong as possible. I think late in the game, whether you're at 280, 300, you're not going to miss the damage per round that much. It's really going to be these special abilities at level 3 and level 5 that are going to be dealing a lot of extra damage, and you'll kind of see that throughout the game. So that's how I play Xerxes, right? No need to rush leader level 5 like you would on other leaders. And for the time being, we're doing okay here. You can see I picked up Zulu Headdress for increasing that attack speed. And then I also have PED and Mask of Agamemnon. So some sort of attack speed, very beneficial for Xerxes. It doesn't have to deal that way if you're going to be dealing a lot of instant attacks with Pirate Flag, with Top Hat, things of that nature. But you probably want to find some sort of attack speed in this game. So I picked up a lot. Let's see what pops. For the time being, I'll just hold on to all of them until I figure out what I want to do long term. Doing fairly well. You can see the Pythagorean Sphere plus the Zulu Headdress giving me a lot of attack speed early on, and it's working out well. Only lost once, but I am finding more of a Mask of Agamemnon for the time being, so it's working really well. I've got a tank just taking some damage in the front, and then I'll have this backline ranger that I could use as my Xerxes unit, although the witch is dealing a lot of good damage here with the Zulu Headdress and gaining that additional attack speed. So we'll see what happens. You can see that taunt had a great cast time, prevented the carpet from coming to my backline. You can see, yeah, the ranger's doing a little bit more, so I probably could put the buff on the ranger just because he's dealing a little bit more physical damage. But I don't think you can go wrong either way. and the taunt, naturally going for the taking damage for the taunted enemies. And then I also got the Divine Diadem. First instance is a guaranteed crit, just to deal that additional huge hit of damage in the beginning. I think you could go well. If I'm going to keep it on my ranger, honestly, I could have gone with critical strikes reduce physical armor. That'd be great for some added damage, and the plus 25% lifesteal as well. So not a bad upgrade on either of these, especially if I keep it on my ranger, but we'll see what happens. I upgraded to level 3, so now I'm going to be getting those arrows again. I kind of want to get up to level 4 fairly quickly, and I'm kind of doing that before I even get ultimates into play. And it kind of depends on your strategy. Since I've hit a few spells here early, I'm not too worried about hitting ultimates. So I want to continue my fast momentum. And here's where my lack of AoE damage is hurting. Hopefully the arrows hit, but they're not. But this witch does a lot of good physical damage. With all the snakes, the bouncing damage from the rats actually were fairly beneficial. So. And finally getting to my ultimates, like I said, I'd held it off for some time, but it's time to get into play. And I'm just having, for the final unit, just some backline magic damage, kind of to average things out. And there's those arrows coming into play, doing a lot of good damage. You can see the Xerxes damage for the arrows is right there. And we'll get up to level 4. I'm doing fairly well in the lobby, so I think I can be aggressive, get up to level 4. Now I'm going to be gaining the most most damage per round, 16 per round for the foreseeable future, and I'm at least going to get another 160 damage since we are around 10, and I plan to get there by around 20. So we're already at 90, so we'll get some good amount. Really close here, but I gain a little bit of attack lifesteal with the Cynthian Dagger, and it's working out for me as well. Still on a huge winning streak, and that's one thing I like about this leader is I'm doing well early, especially since I found a lot of attack speed items, which I think are crucial, and I'm just continuing that winning streak, and hopefully I can just keep this snowballing. There's Catapult. Catapult's something that I'd like to use on him for that additional damage. And for the sphere, naturally going for the HP regen. One thing I don't have a lot of that this guy does is he has a lot of disable. Luckily I have a lot of damage. And this guy was fairly survivable, but the damage is just overwhelming. And you can see still doing a good amount with my 2 backline damage dealers, and really just the front line, they're soaking up damage. I'm getting to the back line. This build could be nice, but I don't think it's extremely critical. Cynthian Dagger, getting it there. You know, I could go for the permanent lifesteal every time, but I also like the quick attack in succession. I would like to do both of those since I don't really need the additional damage from the other sharpened edge. And I'm finally getting some disable here. So I've got the Persian Cat, which I could also put onto the Persian Carpet combo. There's someone getting to my backline, but not an issue. And again, my backline is just too strong at the moment. And we're looking good. Decided to sell, get that Persian Cat up. You could go for the Relic Power or the additional damage. I don't really need the added attack speed. That's usually for a backline assassin. And we'll go... I already did the mana restore, so I'll probably do the additional cast range. That'll help for the plague rats, and now I don't have to get the added attack range on the Pythagorean Codex. So a little helpful there that I'm stacking up on it, although I'm not doing a ton of huge ultimate or you know, crazy damage. It's more damage over time. This guy's pretty stacked up here. And yeah, he was a little too stacked up, and I've got a lot of AoE damage, and yeah, that was just too much. So still on a winning streak, absolutely dominating this lobby for the time being, but there are some things I need to watch out for. This Karl Marx, naturally, the fact that they're streaking so early is a bad sign, because they're usually for the late game, and the fact that he has so much wiggle room here should be an issue for me. So, and I also want to check out, see if there's any other top people in the lobby here. Not too much, but yeah, this Karl Marx could be an issue here. This guy gets to my back line. But again, this guy has a lot of snakes that do a lot of good bouncing damage for me. So pretty happy with how that's going. Boxing robes, pretty good. That could take over a Divine Diadem or Cynthian Dagger. I think both are pretty solid. But boxing robes could take it over, so I have just some more reliable attack speed. Because the Mask of Agamemnon has a 12-second cooldown, and it only is for 10 seconds, so there's that lag for 2 seconds where when I don't have the most attack speed. So I'll go ahead, throw out the dagger, stick with the Divine Diadem. Let's see if this makes a difference. So you saw there, when someone has a pretty tanky unit, it actually can work out in my favor, because that means I'm just going to be hitting them extremely fast, and then I'm going to get more procs for the arrows, and so I'm doing almost 1,000 damage worth of procs of those arrows, and it's going to be hitting other people. So I don't mind it when someone has a little bit of a tanky unit. We've got the second Persian cat up, so we'll go for the relic power. Like I said, probably go for both of those. And just still on this winning streak. Really nice so far. This guy has a huge tank unit, but there's where the catapult comes into play. I've got the distance, and he has to walk into it, and it just lets me get a few extra hits, and those few extra hits were critical, and I take him down. And no surprise with the Joan of Arc, he is coming from behind on this one, so he needs to pretty much win out. Let's see how this goes against the Cleopatra build. Again, didn't have too much finisher with this one. You can see those rain of arrows sometimes do hit the snakes, a little annoying. But this build, again, ever increasing in damage. We're at over 200 damage here. And we'll go ahead, might as well max out for the leader. So now we're getting that added attack, which will potentially proc even more volley of arrows and just doing a ton of damage here. There's that added splash damage. And we're doing really well. Almost at 7,000 damage, and we're entering the late game here. Targeting key spells, I kind of didn't want to go past on Zulu Headdress. And I like it, reducing toughness from all enemies on this one. Very beneficial. It's going to add a lot of stun, a lot of slow with my catapult if I can get that up to the second one. This guy's got a really tanky unit. He did stun me. This could be a problem, and I'm getting feared, and yeah, finally losing. A bit unfortunate here as we enter the late game. Got a couple people on winning streaks. I lose mine. Yeah, this Mary Curie build, Joan of Arc, naturally, like I said, had to go on a winning streak, and this Karl Marx build that I haven't seen for the time being is still on a winning streak. So we got to watch out for that. Basketball, I'm really just doing this to contest as best I can, and that's why I'm picking a lot of it up. But if I wanted to, I could probably put a little bit more disable on there. Here's this Karl Marx build. Just lose out. Really unfortunate there. And now we enter the top 4 here in the late game. Almost getting to plus 300 damage here. And we'll do the plus 25% lifesteal there. Could have gone with either one. Again, kind of depends on how you feel about it. And we're almost at max shop as well. Let's see if we can turn this around after a couple of losses here. Here's this Joan of Arc build. I've beaten the past. Now I'm on the same side of their catapult. And that rain of arrows actually super beneficial. Great proc. I take him down, take him out of the game. So that proc went really well. Doing over 3,000 damage based off of that proc. Pretty nice. Although I don't know if this now counts the 25% chance to attack another one. Cast range, I'm getting pretty close, so I don't know if I need the cast range. It's always pretty nice. But the other ones would work too. So I'll go with the added dealing damage. Since I have the Persian carpet, I'm going to be getting in close. I don't need the cast range that most people would. Dealing almost 500 damage here. Rain of arrows doing work. And I take both 4th place and 3rd place out, and now we're on this Karl Marx that's just been hitting juicy after juicy after juicy. So this is going to be a problem here. And we get another juicy in this game with the Plague Doctor's Mask. So you're going to summon that Rat King. The Devil's Bible could probably just go with the health regen or just the reduced cooldown, since I have a lot of things. Pretty helpful that I reduce the cooldown of a lot of these items and make them very spammable. Do a quick shuffle. Let's see if this makes a difference. Getting stunned here, a little unfortunate. There's the rain of arrows when someone has a really tanky unit. And dealing almost 9,000 damage there. The physical armor, usually pretty beneficial. The return damage, kind of negligible. And I'm almost there on Catapult. Like I said, I got the reduced attack speed and the cast time and the movement speed, so it'll be pretty tough for someone to get to me. And on his side, you can see his ranger doing a lot of good damage as well, so something I need to watch out for. And of course, those stuns. Always take a look at your opponents. So he gets to my backline, absolutely blows me up. Real unfortunate there, and that's probably it for me. So when it comes to this late game, naturally is going to be a game of positioning. Get the Pythagorean Codex, which will teleport me to a random location. So I actually want his backline damage dealer really to jump on this witch. So I'll just teleport away after taking a good amount of damage. And massive Agamemnon, probably want to get that up. if I can get that up all the way and silence the person jumping me, that'd be pretty beneficial. So I need to watch out. He's got the Persian combo, really great, something I like to do all the time, and he's got the spell immunity too with the Zulu helmet, so a lot of ways to counter me. I really need to watch out for that backline jumper, so I'll do a quick shuffle and get away from him. So much stun, and I just couldn't take him down. Both my guys were stunned for so long. Probably the reduced toughness on the catapult causing some issues. And there it is. Big change, which will be the catapult. I'm going to be getting unstoppable for 10 seconds, and then it goes on an 8-second cooldown. So you're pretty much getting this off once, twice if you're very, very lucky. But it's unstoppable right at the beginning, which is huge for these backline jumpers. And that stun that you saw earlier shouldn't affect me too much. So I still need to move away from him, but it won't affect me as much. And that's how you avoid the backline jumper, is you just go straight to the front. Immediately blow it up. Dealing a ton of damage with the rain of arrows. And then take him down for about 9,000, 10,000 damage all told. So, bit of a positional issue here, which it's going to have to be. I mean, this guy is gaining juicies upon juicies, and it's really just my catapult that's going to take him down. Are all the juicies going to make a difference? I mean, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, because he's got some on his bench. So he's just high rolling like crazy, which we're not surprised. He was on a winning streak very early on. So playing against the high roll Karl Marx is just very difficult. And it's all on this spell immunity of this catapult that's really going to make the difference. And I got to avoid that Trojan horse too. If you didn't see what the Trojan horse is, it's the Trojan shield juicy. So a Trojan horse rolls in, taunts enemies, and then explodes, and it pierces unstoppable. So the unstoppable on my catapult won't make much of a difference if I get hit with this Trojan horse, which is right there and goes actually to my backline witch. Huge amount of damage there, and now we're getting up to 12,000. And it's looking good so far. Just really got to dodge that Trojan horse, so that's why I have the witch in the back, and I don't and I want him to be continually attacking, so that's why I'm putting him in the front. He'll be a little safe with the unstoppable for the most part, except for that Trojan horse. So a lot of back and forth here. He hit another juicy. I think this guy is almost juicied out. He's pretty much got one spell that isn't juicy, so it's gonna be a challenge here. And again, all down to positioning here, so we got to watch out, see what he's going to do, and adjust accordingly. He did put his ranger right next to my catapult, which is a little unfortunate here. I'm hitting a lot of rain of arrows. But I managed to survive. Deal a ton of damage, almost 20,000 damage there. Pretty much 20,000 damage with the added Xerxes damage there. So fully juicy build essentially versus Xerxes, and we're coming out on top for the time being. Probably have the buff last longer, but these fights are pretty short here, so I don't think it makes too much of a difference. And there is his last juicy, so he's completely juicied up. Except he did switch one out, so he has the guillotine, not completely juicy, selling a lot of spells, trying to figure out how to counter me. And I definitely need to keep an eye on that. And just hopefully the Trojan horse does not hit me. And as I say that, Trojan horse right on top of me. And both his damage dealers are right there. Really unfortunate. Again, the Trojan horse is kind of random, at least from my perspective, and then where he's placing it. So a little unfortunate. that it hits and I lose out. So could have taken him out there with 23 health. I really just need one good round with that Trojan horse not bothering me. Persian combo. I've already got the silence, reducing the cast time on the relics, since I only have one ultimate, so not the biggest issue there. And again, trying to avoid this guy. Really just need to make sure I'm not getting hit by his ranger. So I move it back, try to adjust. He tries to get my position there, and I move him back to the front. Of course, there's the Trojan horse. Luckily, I get taunted by it a little bit here. I'm dealing a lot of damage with the rain of arrows. This could be it, but then I get stunned and just miss out on that one. Real unfortunate. This Trojan horse proving to be pretty annoying here. And I think it's one of the only things stopping me for the time being. He just hit another juicy, so I think fully juicied again. So it just comes down to positioning here. I need to avoid it. I'm probably going to front line just to get as much damage as I can. Try to avoid the Trojan horse, maybe throw some people on the other side. Pretty much down to our last round here. Let's see how this goes. So there's the Trojan horse. I avoid the stun, and I avoid the Trojan horse, which means it should be easy cleanup for me. Dealing a ton of damage, almost, 20,000 damage. So there you go. Really an end game, all about positioning, things like that. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.